Hello and welcome to your Katie Bell Physiotherapy and Wellness Stretch and Relax session. Today you just need one simple piece of equipment. I've got a long TheraBand here. Now mine is a loop TheraBand, don't worry if you don't have this one. If you don't have a TheraBand, a dressing gown cord or strap will help you in a similar way. I just like the stretch that a TheraBand gives. It just gives a little bit more information back to the body. So if you don't have that already, pop off and get that and join us back on your mat. Now, you may also like to have a pillow or a cushion to hand if you prefer that, to have that neck support, and especially when we come to our relaxation, your cozy jumper, a blanket, or an area for you to come into a nice relaxed supported position would be ideal. So, coming into standing and bringing your band with you, I want you first of all just to place your band around your neck and just drape it there. We're going to come and use it in a moment, but it just doesn't disturb the flow of your movement, and we want to just part of today is coming and actually just being part of that movement, and it's part of why we do exercise and why we do movement and why it is so relaxing. It's because we can really keep our concentration there. So I want you to make sure that the phone is off, the distractions are out the way, so you can really spend the next hour really working into your movements and relaxing your mind as well as your body. Okay, so coming into standing, let's just step our feet to where it feels comfortable. We don't need to be too specific with this. And I want you just to start by just tracking through your body. Just become aware of your feet, your knees, your pelvis, your lower back, your spine, your shoulders, all the way up to the crown of the head and down through the arms. What do you notice? What can you feel? Is there anywhere that feels maybe a bit tight or tired? And we'll just take 3 slow breaths and imagine as you breathe out and all of that tension, any area that you're holding onto or protecting, just slowly moves out of your body and dissipates out into the floor. So nice big deep breath in. Exhale, send it to anywhere that's capturing your attention. And again. See if as you breathe out, there's anywhere that you're just guarding unnecessarily. And if you're not sure and you can't feel anywhere, focus relaxing your jaw, across your face, over the front of your chest and your lower back and knees. Those are some key points in the body where we tend to hold a little bit of extra tension. Okay, so in this position now, let's take hold of our band and we're going to reach our band into our hands. I'm going to hold the end of my band and I'm going to come first of all nice and wide. So I've got the band behind me, or you've got your strap behind you. I'm going to start by just closing my hands and opening my hands. So this shouldn't feel hard work. This shouldn't feel like you're having a workout in terms of strength and conditioning. This should just feel like it's increasing your awareness of your shoulders moving. Notice how, and I'm going to turn around for you, how the strap goes across your upper back and shoulders. And just see if you can become aware of your shoulder blades moving against that band. Okay, 2 more here. On your next one, as you bring your hands together, I want you now to reach those fingertips forward. So I'm not moving my spine, I'm just sliding my arms forwards. Like I'm reaching away and then letting them draw back together. And this is where the TheraBand gives you that little bit of pressure to slide into and slide back from. So if you've got a strap and you feel like actually you can't go anywhere, just change it, pop the strap in between your hands and go forwards and backwards, holding onto the strap. So whichever version you're doing, holding onto that band, holding onto that strap, sliding those hands forwards and backwards. Okay. From here, open those hands out again, and from here, let's lift and lower the hands. Just very slightly. I've got my hands pretty much in line with my body, and I can just slide my hands up and slide them back down again. And I'm not trying to move particularly fast. Just focusing on opening up the chest. 2 more. And then relax down, give those shoulders a nice roll. Relax the body again, take 3 breath cycles and just again become aware of anywhere where you're maybe holding or guarding your body. Use that out breath just to release that area, maybe let go of your tummy, let go of your shoulders, your jaw, your knees. Okay, let's progress that. So bringing the band around your back again, fingertips pointing forwards. I'm going to slide my arms forward so that my shoulder blades are out, and then I'm going to tuck my chin down to my chest Like I'm going to think about doing a little mini roll down, and then I'm going to re-stack back up, let my shoulder blades come back together again. So I go out, roll through the neck and shoulders, and then re-stack up, draw back in with those shoulder blades. So I slide the shoulder blades apart, bring the chin down, rounding the upper spine, breath in, breathe out, roll back up, and retract. One last time. There, out, roll down, and release. Well done. Let's release those arms and give those shoulders a nice big roll. I'm going to pop my band around my shoulders again. I'm going to do exactly the same movement that you've just seen from the side without the band. So you should feel a softness and a lightness. So floating those hands up towards me. Exhale, let's slide the fingertips away. Bring the chin down towards the chest. Rounding the upper back, take a breath in. Breathe out, retract the shoulders, restack the spine, and pause for the breath in. And again, slide and round the spine. And then restack, sliding those shoulder blades together. Notice how your body feels light, how it feels soft compared to what you were doing before. One last time without the band. This time as we retract back, let's open our arms out, turning our palms up, gently looking towards the sky for a chest stretch. Breath in. Breathe out, rounding straight into that movement, reaching forwards. Exhale, restack, lift. Open the chest, gaze gently towards the sky, and then tuck back in, reaching forwards, rounding the shoulders. Okay, stay open now into your chest stretch. Bring your head back in line, palms facing forward, sweep the hands down towards the hips, and then up towards the sky. Down towards the hips, and up towards the sky. Imagine you're sweeping your hands on the wall behind you, gently opening. On your next one, we're going to take our hands all the way up, but then take our right hand back down, taking ourselves into a side bend. Hold it there for that breath in. Breathe out, roll yourself forwards, round to the middle, and then re-stack up again. Big sweep with both hands. Let's take the left hand down, side bending over for our mermaid, taking a breath in. Breathe out, round forwards and down, and then re-stack up, sweeping both hands into a high V. Let's look up to the sky for a moment here. Breathe out, tuck the chest back in, and sweep the hands over to the side, taking that breath in. Breathe out, round, and fold yourself forward to restack straight into your chest stretch. Breath in. Breathe out, sweep over to the side, hold for the breath in. Breathe out, round all the way to centre, and come back up into standing. Lovely. We're going to take our band now, and we're going to bring it underneath our feet. So if you've got a long length of the band, I want you to hold the ends, and you're going to step on the middle like a skipping rope. Okay. So I'm going to turn sideways as you do this, and we're just going to step both feet onto our band. I'm going to take a soft bend into the knees, almost like you're thinking about having a sit down. And then from here, I'm just going to hold onto the band with my hands like in a thumbs up position. I'm going to bend myself forward slightly, so I'm in this sort of hinged hip position, and I'm still trying to keep a nice straight back. So if you find if you go forward, you drop the shoulders, just curl the spine back into that lengthened position, and only fold forward as far as you can whilst maintaining your neutral. Now from here, all I want you to do is just to row your hands up towards your body. So you're tucking those shoulders in. If you've got a strap instead of a band, just hold it at its length and just get some tension on the band while squeezing the shoulder blades together. Now keep these shoulder blades tense, and now see, keeping the shoulder blades tense, keeping the back long, if you can fold forwards a little bit for me. And I want you to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, until you can feel a bit of tension coming down into your legs. Lower back stays neutral. Keep that tension there and see if you can start to straighten your legs a little bit more. We're looking for work in the back and a stretch tension down the back of the legs. If you can't feel it, shift your weight slightly further forward. So your weight is coming into the centre of the foot rather than just the heel. Now keep the lower back neutral. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. This might feel like a bit of a strange stretch, not a deep stretch that you get down your legs. And we're using that activation through the back of the shoulders to tension the legs. Now when you're ready, engage a little bit more through your core, release the tension in your arms, and hinge all the way back up into standing. Okay, see how you feel? You might need a tighter band, you might need a looser band to repeat that. So when you're ready, bend the knees slightly, so we've got a soft knee bend. Hinge forwards at the hips, row the arms in and come down into that hinge position. Now keep the shoulder blades squeezing towards each other. Fold forwards until you feel a stretch through the back of the legs. Hold it there, go on, reach the tailbone away. Long length through the back of the head and neck. 3, 2, 1, and up we come, releasing through. Well done. Okay, we're going to step our left leg behind us so we can feel a little bit of a stretch going up through our calf. If you want to, you can hold on to your band or your strap in that same hand, in that left hand, keeping it underneath your right foot for stability. And I want you just to work your foot backwards so you can feel a little bit of tension coming through here. We're going to use, again, some effort and then some stretch to help this activation and this release happen at the same time. So making sure you're happy with your tension in your band. Just pull it on enough so you can feel the shoulder blades are drawing towards each other. Now from here, up and down with that heel. Just a little piston, up and down, up and down. So we're getting some ankle mobility now into that big toe mobility. So important for that chain all the way up into the hip and the back. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Now sit back into that stretch. Press the heel gently away, keeping the knee just very, very slightly soft. We're not forcing it to be completely straight. Keep pushing back, leaning forward through the crown of the head. Keep this elbow gently tucking by the waist and ribs staying in. 3, 2, 1, off you go again. Piston up and down with that ankle. You should feel the big toe having a bit of a stretch. This is also helpful for stretching out the connective tissue and mobilising the connective tissue in the foot. We're using this activation and tension in the mid-back to give this stretch somewhere to anchor from. Okay, stay in your stretch position now, pressing back through the ankle, pulling back into the elbow. Stay there, stay there, stay there. Lean forwards through the crown of the head, back and down through the heel. 3, 2, 1, last time, off you go. Piston up and down the foot, mobilising the big toe, mobilising the ankle, finding that space in the lower part of the leg. Well done. You should start to feel by now that your big toe is just a little bit freer. You can rock through that a little bit more comfortably. If you're not happy with this, just stay in a calf stretch. When you're ready, down into your stretch, out through the crown of the head, back into the heel. Keep the shoulder blade just gently squeezing towards each other. 3, 2, 1, and release. Fantastic. Let's swap over. So taking your left foot into your band now, stepping your right foot behind, passing your band over into your right hand. Just row that band on. You're not working against strong resistance, you just want to feel those muscles activating. So when you've worked your foot far enough back that you can feel there's a little bit of tightness, a little bit of tension into the sole of the foot and toes, start to kind of work into that mobility. And it might be more distinct for you this time because you just mobilised off on the other side. You didn't maybe know what you were feeling for. But you might start to notice how the sole of the foot and the big toe, you're getting that little bit of stretch tension at the end of the movement. But keep those shoulder blades squeezing, keep the spine long. On your next one, let's sink down into our calf stretch. Push the heel away, raise up through the crown of the head. Stay there. 3, 2, 1, off you go again. Up and down, pistoning through that ankle, feeling the big toe mobilise, feeling the arch of the foot gently stretching out. Keep going, mobilising there. 3, 2, 1, down into your calf stretch then. Go on, reach forward through the crown of the head, back into the ankle. Keep the knee just slightly soft. Okay, last time, up and down, pistoning with that ankle, mobilising into the big toe. Go on, lift, and lift, and lift. 3, 2, 1, hold it there. Last time, big calf stretch, reaching up through the crown of the head. 3, 2, 1, and when you're ready, stepping back in. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to come down onto the mat. I want you just to pop your band aside. And we're going to come to the end of our mats now. Stepping your feet hip distance apart. Just relax those arms down by your side, lengthening up through the crown of the head. I want you to exhale and just think about the beginning of the session where we rounded the shoulders and draped the head down. So start with that part of the roll down. Exhale, tucking the chin towards the chest and just dangling here for a moment.
breath in, and then exhale and roll to your mid-back, just above your last rib. And then exhale, roll down into your lower back. Take a breath in, and then breathe out and roll all the way down as far as you feel comfortable to go. Take a nice big deep breath in. And then as you exhale, let's re-stack back up, one vertebra at a time, all the way up into standing. And again, exhale, chin to chest, rounding the upper spine. Then fold through the shoulders into the mid-back, mid-back into the lower back, pausing for that breath in, and then lower back into pelvis and hips all the way down, taking a breath in. Exhale, engage the core as we lift all the way back up into standing. One more time, exhale down through chin to chest, pause for the breath in, then through to the mid-back, breath in, exhaling down into that lower back and pausing, and last of all the way down to the floor. Okay, so keeping your knees slightly soft, let's take our right hand over onto our left leg and lift our other arm up towards the sky. So we're opening up to this left hand side, keeping the hips in the centre. Breathe out and let's switch sides. You might find you prefer your hand at your knee, or you might like to turn your head and look to the side if your back doesn't tolerate this rotation. Staying in that position for a nice long deep breath in, and then breathing out, sweeping your hand back down and swapping to the other side. Breath in and out. One more time. Last one here. Okay, when you're ready, let's peel all the way back up into standing. Reset the spine. And again, before we continue, just track through your body. Where do you notice tension now? Has it moved? Has it shifted? Has it dissipated? Using those out breaths just to release the tension anywhere you feel that is unnecessary or you're holding on by accident. Okay, this time we're going to roll down, peeling down, hands towards the floor, gently lifting through the core. We're going to rock our hips left and right. We're going to sway those hips over the ankles each side. Now if you prefer, you might like your hands on your knees and just rocking your hips side to side in this position. Whichever you do, still remain lifted gently in that core. We're not working too hard, we're just creating support, so either down to the floor or hands to knees. Okay, next time you sway your weight over onto your left side, just stay there and take a small circle around that left ankle. So imagine your hip is circling around this foot and you're just nudging forwards and around a little bit more. Now, change directions of that circle over that left side. Rocking round and through. If you're here on your hands on your knees, just use that little bit of support over into this left side. 3, 2, 1, and let's switch our weight over into our right ankle and circle that weight around the right ankle. Keeping shifted over, nudging across, feeling that activation and that release into that side. Let's change directions, scooping round. 3, 2, 1, and when you're ready this time, let's fold our knees and walk ourselves down onto our mats. If your wrists do get sore, feel free to lean onto a chair or come down onto your elbows. We're going to start by just setting those shoulders, so just let them sink and then push away and sink into those shoulders and push away. Try not to go too fast with this. Slow it down. Imagine you're going at 50% of the pace that you naturally want to go at. And see if you can listen to those shoulders. What are you noticing or feeling? Okay, setting those shoulders so they're in the middle of that movement now. Let's take the circle in the hips again. So we're going to circle the hips round one way and then circle back the other way. Any problems with knees or hips and you don't like this, feel free to come and lay on your back and lay there, hugging the knees in and circling the knees instead. If If this feels comfortable for you, you may like to start progressing and going further through this movement, going deeper into the circle. And I want you to start tracking that movement and almost grading that movement. Where in that movement does it feel a bit stickier and tighter? You might get through most of it and then just notice there's one point. So if you have noticed that, come to that point now, so find that point there now, and just see if you can nudge in and out, like you're just kind of sweeping on that part of the circle. So sweep into it, just beyond, and then sweep back through it. Back to the centre, sweep through it, and back through it. So this should feel relieving, it should feel nice, it should feel helpful. It shouldn't feel sharp or uncomfortable. If it does, come back to the top here and maybe switch to just hip sways if that feels more tolerable for you. We're going to come there in a second so you're not missing out. Okay, 2 more of those little nudges at the point where you feel you've got any restriction. Okay, everybody now coming to the top of the movement here. And we're just going to sway side to side. So whether you're laid on your back or whether you're laid in this hands and knee position with me, let's sway those hips side to side. So I'm just going straight across. Now if your hips or knees don't like this, please come and lay on your back. We're now going to take our hips all the way across to that left hand side and imagine you're sitting out into that hip there. Almost like imagine there's a cushion out on the edge of the mat and you're trying to get your hip down onto that cushion to have a little sit down. Stay here for me, but stay active again in those shoulders. Long through the spine. Okay, 5 more seconds here. Go on, sit down, let go of those hips. Use your arms as your support. If you're laying on your back, just draw your knees to one side. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Engage the core, lift up and over, nice and softly to the other side. Remembering if this isn't okay for your hips or your knees, come onto your back. So we're sitting here, almost, this is where our effort is, our upper body. In fact, most of it you'll find is in this right arm supporting you. It's lifting you up, creating the tension on which for you to let go into that hip. Okay, we're going to come back to the other side again. So going straight across. Stay there now. Support yourself with this left hand. Go on, get some tension and some activation into that shoulder. And then just see if you can nudge just a centimetre further back. Imagine someone's pushed that cushion a little bit further away from you. That's it. Stay there. Go on, let that hip go. Stay active here in the shoulder. Let the hip release. 3, 2, 1. And over you go to the other side. And sit back. Just a centimetre. I'm going to do this one more time each side. This can be really helpful if you've got some tension very deep into your hip rotators and you can never quite get in there. This is when we sort of often will miss this movement. So let's come over to this first side again. Sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back. Go on, all the way through there. Lift out that shoulder. Sit, 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 sit. Staying there. And when we stay here a little bit longer in this sort of position, which is just that sort of middle point of the circles. A great way just to find that deeper tension. And when you're ready, other side. Over we go. Then start to sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back. Find the limit of your tension there. This should be tolerable. It should just feel like a deep stretch. It shouldn't feel painful. If you're doing this on your back, your knees to your side, just play around with the angle of your knees. 3, 2, 1. Let's come back to the centre here. Fantastic. So can you take yourself into some tilt forwards and backwards? All the way forwards, all the way back. You may like to stay on your back with your feet on the floor, rolling your pelvis like we're doing our bridges. Okay, I'm going to bring my feet together and my knees apart, and I'm going to rock forwards and backwards out of my hands and knees into like a shell stretch, and then I'm going to come forward like I'm going to think about laying down onto my tummy. But my knees are apart, my feet are together. Forwards and backwards. If you are on your back, I want you to take your knees into your hands, bring your feet together, and then with your knees apart, rock your knees forwards and backwards, opening up those hips. We're looking for a little bit of mobility and stretch into the inside of the hip joint now, in towards the groin. Okay, 2 more here. And this time we're going to push ourselves back into our shell stretch or hug our knees in towards us, stretching our body out nice and long, keeping our knees apart and our feet together. You may like to do a little rock side to side with your hips or your knees, just to work into that movement and then settle back into that stretch. In this position, I want you to see if you can let go of your spine. See if you can let go of your shoulders, feeling yourself almost sink here in your heart and in your chest down into the floor. Not rounding away from it. If it feels too intense, come up onto your elbows and rest your head onto your hands. That will take the pressure out of it somewhat. 2 more breath cycles. Again, tracking through the body. Where do you feel that resistance? And just see if you can ask your body to take that guard down. Okay, engaging that core, popping those hands back underneath you. Lift yourself back to your hands and knees, and this time let's take our legs out nice and wide so my toes were together. Now that out parallel, I've got this nice and long back position, parallel long legs nice and wide. I'm going to do the same thing again, so hands are slightly forward, so I'm going to rock back into a shell stretch and then forwards like I'm thinking about going into a little plank or a cobra. Forwards and back, finding a little bit of mobility, and this might feel strange for your hips if you've not done this one before. Again, just test it out. Does it feel right for you? If you're not happy with it, if it doesn't feel tolerable, then don't go into this movement. Do a version that you do feel comfortable with. So 2 more as we are, forwards and backwards. And then when you're ready, let's come back into our shell stretch, resting down and reaching those fingertips away, nice and heavy and relaxed. This can feel a little bit more intense around the hip joints. So again, if this isn't appropriate for you, feel free to come onto your back. Nice wide leg position. Maybe even go into your happy baby where you take hold of your ankles or your feet and you lift those feet in the air, opening up those hips. Just trying to see if we can give the body time to let go. Trying to be patient and let our body lead this. One more breath cycle. Unguard that movement. And when you're ready, walk yourself forward, bringing those knees together. And if you can, I want you to come and have a lie down onto your tummy. So we're going to be laying flat along the mat. So walking yourself down and just popping your elbows underneath your shoulders. Now I really enjoy in this position just a gentle lift. If you prefer to, you can lift up higher, or you could come down a little bit lower, or even laying flat. And I want you to start with a little wiggle left and right of your pelvis. Almost imagine you're shaking any extra tension out of your lower back. If you are laying down flat here, start with half a dozen of these, and then see if you can nudge yourself onto your elbows and have another go there, and gradually work up into this extended position. I want you to imagine the hip bones just rocking one to the other and see if you can just get that little rhythmical movement going. We're trying to use a rhythmical, soft movement to almost shake off and release any held onto tension. And as you become more confident, you can lift higher, gradually working a little bit more into this extended position. 2, 1. Now stay here if you can, lifting high into the crown of the head. Now if you can't be laid down on your tummy, you might like to be in hands and knees and stretch your arms out for your puppy stretch. So hips would be up high, arms would be outstretched. We're staying here, lifting high into the crown of the head and just staying heavy and soft into the pelvis. Imagine the front of the body opening. 3, 2, 1, relax down. Now, whether you're in hands and knees or you're laid on your front like me, I want you to just do a little knee fold. So just stepping one foot up to the hip at a time, flicking that foot towards you. We're not going particularly fast with this today, we're just thinking about step, release, step, release. And sometimes people say to me, I can feel the back of my knee flicking when I do this. If you are, the likelihood is that you're coming at a bit of an angle, so see if you can bring your foot slightly further out or slightly further in, and see if you can eradicate that little flip or click. That's it. Find that position that works for you. Get that alignment going. Okay, this this time, bringing that left foot up towards your bottom. Imagine you're going to squeeze your heel towards your bottom. Go on, squeeze, 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 squeeze. 3, 2, 1, release. Now pop yourself back up onto your elbows. And again, bring it in. And you'll notice how, when you're lifted up, how this creates more tension through the front of the body. Stay here, keep squeezing. Now if you're on hands and knees, what I want you to do is to lift your chest forwards and do it here, okay? See if that helps. You may even prefer to stretch your leg out and do it up here, if that feels better for you. But ideally we're down here, we're doing that little lift here. Go on, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Lifting your head up can also increase this. 3, 2, 1, and release down. Now come back to your shake out. Shaking those hips side to side, either in hands and knees or laid down. Okay, switching to your right leg now. Let's tuck the heel towards the bottom. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Stay there. Think about almost like you're trying to squash the back of your leg. Squash your heel to your bottom, reaching the knee away. 3, 2, 1, and release. And again, tucking up onto those elbows, bringing your heel towards your hip, and then lift, 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 lift. We're trying to take the chest forward, getting that squeeze of the heel towards the hip. We're really trying to get that activation through the back line so the front of the body just opens naturally. We don't have to work too hard at it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and release. Lovely. Let's all push back into a poppy stretch now. Reaching those fingertips away. And again, you might like to just do that little hip wiggle that we were done laid down or in hands and knees. See if you can use that breath to send your spine long. Almost imagining that spine is an elastic band and it's gently being stretched backward through your tailbone and forward through the crown of the head. Okay, let's take our right hand and slide it underneath us towards the front of the room. If you find this too intense, you might like to be on your hand here in hands and knees and just bending and reaching through slightly. But I still want you to get that sensation of reaching backward through your tailbone. So we're getting this length through the spine. Lovely. Stay there for me. Keep drawing back. Okay, if we are down in our full poppy stretch here, you might like to stretch out your top arm a little bit further and maybe even walk it towards the centre of your mat so you can open your body a little bit more. Whichever version we're doing, we're trying to keep this hip stacked over the knee. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and release that hand. Again, take yourself to those little wiggles here. Now, if you want to advance that movement, I'm going to give a different variation, but you're very welcome to stay at the level that you just did if that felt like an effective movement for you. So, taking this right hand, we're going to thread it through, and then we're going to also slide out our left leg. We're going to reach through there. So long there. Stay there for me. Now I want you to imagine that this leg is stretching so much that it almost feels like it could just about float off the floor. So all your weight is into this right shoulder and this right knee. Staying here. Go on. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Reach the fingertips and the toes away from each other. Big breath. And when you're ready, folding back down, releasing and stretching those arms out, taking that little shake. If you prefer, you might like to be down here in a shell stretch or even with your hands behind your back, taking that little sway side to side. Okay, let's come back into our poppy stretch. This time we're going to take our left hand, thread it under our shoulder. Maybe you've got the choice to be here in hands and knees, reaching through, keeping the hips over the knees. Staying here again, allowing your body some time to release. If you are into your lower points of your poppy stretch, maybe walking your hands slightly further back. And then when you're ready, let's release that hand and take ourselves to the little hip rocks. On your next out breath, let's take that left hand, reaching it through, and if you want to progress this further again, taking that leg and extending it as well. So your weight is into your left shoulder and your left knee, with your right leg and arm outstretched, so long and so light that you can imagine you could float them off the floor. You don't have to add these in if this doesn't feel appropriate for you. 2 more breath cycles. And then as you breathe out, roll that knee back down, slide the arms back through, and either in your puppy stretch or your shell stretch, just allow yourself to rest here, rocking the hips. Again, looking for that tension, anything that might be still holding on. When you're ready, let's peel ourselves up into kneeling. And we're going to come into a long kneeling position. And what we can do is we can use this strap to help us with this movement here, to give us a little bit of stability. So coming forward, I'm going to step forward first of all with my right leg. I'm going to take my strap and I'm going to just pop it underneath my foot and over my knee here. Okay, so I've got it underneath my foot and over my knee. Now I'm going to then wrap it through, okay? So you've got this nice little bit of tension around your foot, over your knee, and then you're going to bring it back through again, okay? And what I want you to do is to create some tension, so you've got this little bit of pull on the inside of the leg here, okay? So you've got that connection there, okay? So in this position here, holding onto this tension here, I'm going to rock forwards and backwards. And all this is doing, and if you haven't got an elastic strap, just literally take your strap and just wrap it around your leg. Just wrap it round, okay? All we're doing is we're giving this leg a little bit more information. We're just feeling a little bit of feedback into it. It doesn't really matter too much about the position of it, but already my brain is feeling this leg a little bit more. And I'm using that leg a little bit more. So I want you to keep this knee gently tucking in. Okay, we're going to keep rocking forwards, backwards. Now, if you don't like this on your supporting knee, you might prefer to be here in a lunge position, rocking forwards and backwards here, if that feels better for you. You don't have to use a strap if it doesn't work for you. Okay, on your next one, we're going to rock forwards. I'm going to stay here now. I'm going to hug my knee just gently in. So I'm not going to let it sweep off to the side. I'm going to connect my big toe into the mat. I'm pressing my foot in. I've got lots of activity here, but I'm releasing and letting go all of this hip here. So all my stability is here. As I do this, imagine that you're drawing and sucking into this right hip. Almost imagine like a screw top lid. So you're screw topping this hip into the joint. So I'm really getting some activation into here. You can hold on to the band on the leg or across, whichever it is. We just want more information there. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay, let go of that band, because I want those hands to be free now. Don't worry what it's doing now. And we're going to take this left hand and we're going to sweep it up with us as we go forwards, sweeping it up. Of course, if your knee doesn't feel happy, come to that standing lunge position. It's exactly the same. So I'm going to come forwards and release off. Forwards and release off. I'm trying to keep a nice little squeeze here into the glutes. I'm keeping long through my spine, whichever version I'm doing. So I'm going to come back down onto the floor here now. And I'm just imagining I'm lifting. Off we go, lift. And lift. 2 more here. On your next one, come forwards and hold it here. And imagine you're floating into these top fingertips. Active through this front leg for me. Going active, active, active. Reach, 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 reach. Get your weight into this front leg. Let the back leg just gently squeeze into the glutes and let it open. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay, if you're in this kneeling position, this next bit to switch is pretty easy. All you're going to do is you're going to rotate here. So I've left that leg where it is, okay? If you're in the standing position, if you can come down to this position, great. If not, I'll show you an adaptation in a minute. So if your band's irritating you, distracting you, just pop that out of the way. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start nudging now into a side lunge. So I nudge across and back through. Across and back through. And I'm looking for a stretch through the inside of the leg. My knee feels pretty comfortable. You could put a cushion there if you're not happy. Okay, so we're getting this nice opening through the hip. You might have done this a couple of times if you've done some mobility classes with me before. Okay, 2 more here. Okay, we're going to add in our arms now. So like we did our sweeping arm in our lunge position, we're going to do exactly the same. So taking your left arm, we're going to sweep across and back through. So imagine you're doing a little bit of bowling. Exhale, sweep, and release, and sweep, release. And again, activate that leg. Imagine that band, where it was, how it felt. And all already that's going to switch on in your brain and go, oh, okay, come on, switch on, activate. Take the effort down into that hip. Feel the leg, take your weight. Feel the muscles switch on. Okay, 2 more. Okay, come back to the centre here now. Sweeping this arm up and over. Can you reach into a side bend like we did at the beginning? And then release. It might be for you, you start and you can come up to the top here. But if you can, reach up and over and then release this leg so it's straight if you can. And back through. So now we're getting this complementing stretch down the side of the body, up through the fingertips, and release. And again, over you go. Up and over, press those hips forwards, and release. After this next one, we're going to put those 2 movements together. So we're going to sweep through, and then back out. Sweep through, and back out. If you are standing, so keep going if you are doing the kneeling version, I want you here, toes pointing forward, this one here. So you're going to go across here, okay? Then you've got here, into a side bend, okay? So you've got across, into a little lunge, and then a side bend. So those are your standing options. Whichever version you're doing, I want you to do 3 or 4 more of that version. I'm going to join in for 2 more. And again. Lovely. Well done. Okay. If you can stay in this position, either standing or sitting, kneeling, standing or kneeling. Bring your hands up to your chest here. We're going to rotate towards this side leg and away. And again, rotate. So our legs aren't moving anywhere now. We're in this lunge position. And I want you to press down into your left heel or knee, so this supporting leg. As you do that, feel your glutes activate on that side. And just gently open up this knee a little bit more, almost like someone's got hold of the front of your kneecap or your leggings and they're just pulling it out, okay? So rotate and rotate. Well done. Okay. As we do this now, as you rotate to the side, your front arm, I want you to reach it up, your back arm, reach it behind. And then we come back to the centre and switch. Again, we're trying to work with our whole body, all our connective tissue, rather than just isolating one single muscle. We're going to go into those teams. Last one left and right. Well done. Okay, let's come and swap out. If you need to have a rest from those knees, feel free to. I'm going to switch the other way. I'm going to grab my band and I'm going to wrap it around my supporting leg. So stepping my left leg out now, I'm going to just wrap that band around. I'm going to wrap it over that leg. I'm going to come bring this way so I can feel it here on the inside of my leg. And I can feel that tension there, I can feel that activation. Let's turn into our lunge position here now. So rocking forwards and backwards. So already I've got this tension here on the band or the strap. And all this is doing is getting the brain switching on. It's almost like turning the volume up inside your brain of this supporting leg. So already your brain is more aware and sending more signals to and fro from this leg. So hopefully this leg will kick in, take the activation so that we can open up a little bit more into the back leg. You've got the option to do this in standing as well. So as you come forward, just imagine hugging this front knee, this left knee, in towards the midline of the mat. So make sure it's tracking over the ankle big toe, so we're not going off to the side here. We're trying to keep in line for this version. Everything's a straight line. Let's bring our arm in. So sweep that right arm up and back down. So this isn't a collapse down into your right hip. It's a lift up into the right hand. And it's like as you lift up and you're trying to take off through that right hand, you're landing into that front foot. 2 more. Last one. Hold it there for a moment. Lift up, lift up, lift up. Activate that front leg. Go on, push that left foot into the floor. Push that left knee gently in and lift up through those right fingertips. Feel the supporting leg. Activate and gently squeeze through your right gluteals. Okay, 3, 2, 1, release. Now remember, if you're in kneeling, you can get rid of that band. You're just going to rotate to look to the front. If you're in standing, all you're going to do is step your
your right foot to face forwards. Okay, in that position, with or without your band, it's up to you. We're going to start nudging in and out this movement. So we've still got that memory of the band and the strap being around the leg. So we've still got that little carryover, almost like a hangover of information from that leg. So it should feel really ready and alert inside your brain to work with that leg. Okay, so coming across and back out. Now if you do feel uncomfortable on one side, then feel free to come up into standing. Let's bring our arm in on the next one. So using this right arm, let's sweep across. We look across the end of our mat, then we open ourselves back to the front. Okay, so lift out the supporting hip. And again, lift. That's it. Really starting to open up the pelvis. Done lots of work to open these hips and free off the lower back today. Hopefully you'll be ready and set for a good long walk or run. 2, 1, okay, and you now reach up and over, side bend. Now reach long through those fingertips, and as you reach along through the fingertips, connect and lift through this supporting hip. Okay, out you can. And in your own time, just over, lift, and release. Over, and lift, and release. You can let your foot lift off naturally, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to keep the toes all the way stuck down, it's absolutely fine. Just let yourself move into it. If you want to stay here, just imagine you're reaching up towards the sky. Okay, let's bring both of those in together. Now I like the breath in at the top here. Makes sense to me because I'm lifting and opening up these ribs so I can stretch them a little bit further. Let's do 2 more here. And you might notice a stretch through the inner leg. You might even notice a stretch through the quads on the supporting side. Okay, let's stay here. Can you reach, 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 reach? Lift out that supporting leg. Go on, 3, 2, 1, and release. Well done. So we should now be feeling quite mobile in those hips and quite loose at the back. I want you to come down onto hands and knees on the mat now. Pop your band aside. And then from here we're going to take ourselves into our wag the tail. So lifting up your left foot. I want you to start by sweeping the foot, keeping the spine still and just sweeping the foot in and out. So again, we're continuing with that hip mobility. Imagine you've got a little drawing pin stuck down into the mat underneath your knee and you're just spinning on that drawing pin. Okay. Next time you sweep your foot out over the edge of the mat, allow yourself to turn and look towards that leg. Imagine you're gathering in this left waist. Now bring the foot across the other way and open up that left waist now. Let's switch again. So look across to the outside of the mat and then switch across the centre of the mat. Keep that movement going. Out and in. Okay, this time as you take your foot out to the side, so my foot's coming across the side, I'm going to stretch my right hand away, giving a little bit more length to that side of the body. 3, 2, 1, and this time bring the foot back across the body and stretching away with that opposite hand there. One more time, bring the foot across, stretch out that right hand. Come back through, come across with the leg and stretch out that left hand. Okay, when you're ready, let's switch the other side. So, right foot now, sweep it across and out. Don't worry about moving your body yet. If anything, try and suspend your spine in a lovely long neutral and let just the movement at the hip happen. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's rotate in and look. Let's rotate out and look. In and look. Out and look. Keep that movement going in your own time. Imagining the spine swishing left and right, but still staying lifted, so we're not marching forwards and backwards.
This time as you take your foot out to the right hand side, let's stretch that left hand out up the mat. Coming back in, let's switch, foot comes across the mat and out, stretch the right hand. And switch, foot goes across, out, stretch the left hand. And switch. When you're ready, let's come back to the centre here now. And this time just let the hips sway left and right. Like a little mini version of those circles we did earlier on. You may even like to turn that into a small circle with the tailbone. Imagine you're stirring a pot. And then shift that all the way around, shifting into the opposite direction. Last two. Last one there. For our final exercise before we come into a moment of quiet, I want you to come and lay down onto your tummies again. And resting your head onto your hands, bend up your knees and bring your heels together, allowing your knees to come apart. From here, just gently squeeze your heels together, feeling your gluteals activate. As you do that, bring your heels towards your bottom. If this feels too much, just bring the knees up slightly narrower and completely exercise in that position there. If not, keep the knees nice and wide. Squeeze the heels, bring them up towards your bottom. Feel that activation through the back of the legs and into the gluteals. And then release, bringing the knees back in line. With your left leg, keep it flexed, extend your right leg back out and let the foot windscreen wiper left and right. Just like we did a moment ago, but this time with the hips in a straight extended position. If this isn't tolerable for you, feel free to come back to your hands and knees position. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and let's switch over, bringing the right foot up. Again, letting the foot sweep left and right. Just see if you notice a difference between the two. Does one side seem to move a little bit more smoothly? Does it seem to have slightly more range or ease? Okay, when you're ready, releasing down through those legs, zipping the heels and the legs together and just gently squeezing the shoulder blades together. Feel that activation down through the shoulders, the hips and the legs. 3, 2, 1, release. If you're in hands and knees, just zip the heels together and zip the shoulder blades together. As we do this again, connecting the heels, squeezing the shoulder blades down towards each other, holding it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time, if you're laid on your front, pop yourself back up onto your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades, squeeze your heels together, engage those glutes and lift, 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 lift. We feel the back of the body drawing, activating, so the front of the body can open. 3, 2, 1, and release. So coming to a position of comfort for yourself, whether that's laying or sitting, I want you just to find yourself a cushion or a blanket and just find a way to support around the side of the hips or underneath the knees and supporting for the back of the head and the neck. When you get to that position, just tune into your body again. Where are you holding tension voluntarily? See if you can use 2 or 3 breaths to soften that. Notice how as you release that breath, and release that tension, you can now become aware of if you have any tension, sitting down another layer than that. Maybe some involuntary tension that you can't actually change significantly by just relaxing. But you may notice how, if you have got an area of tension in your body, how that flows from that point, how it spreads outwards through your body, and we start to hold on to different places in the rest of our body. So if you do have those areas, just use your breath now to exhale into those areas, not forcing, but just inviting that area to relax and release. If you don't notice anywhere that is tense, if
your body feels free and soft and open, I want you to track through from your jaw, down through your shoulders and through the front of your chest, allowing your out-breath to soften those movements and to soften any tension that you're noticing. Continue that all the way into the lower back and down into the back of the knees, letting the whole entire body melt into the mat. Using that out-breath to release, using that out-breath to soften, and using that in-breath to draw in a lightness to your body. Notice how, as you lay here, the difference you can feel from the beginning of your session. Allow yourself to stay in that place. Stay in that softness. Allow yourself to listen to that softness. And just make a mental note now where you were holding on to additional tension unnecessarily. Making a note of where in your body you like to carry that and how did it feel. As you lay here, I want you just to relax and just ponder on what things maybe draw that tension up in your body. What positions, activities or situations. And if anything comes to mind, if you're aware of what might be triggering it, I want you to think of when you're next going to be entering that situation or adopting that position or that activity. And already plant that in your mind, that out-breath, that release, that ability to let go and release any additional extra tension. Becoming aware that you can control and change how your body feels. So as you draw into these last few breaths of the session, I want you just to notice again how your body feels different. Where is there residual tension, or are you holding on anywhere? And again, one last time, invite that part of your body to soften, release, and relax into this position. If you can, take a few more moments, not rushing off of the mat, to feel the movement and feel the softness around that joint or that area. Feel free to explore that area now that we have taken additional tension out. In your own time, 3 slow deep breaths in and out, inviting the very last piece of tension to release from your body. Using movement if you need to, but not forcing, just inviting. Try not to rush off your mat and stay here for as long as you need, exploring these movements and these areas of tension with your breath.